What's up, everybody? It is Ebonie Beaco here, your mortgage strategist, homeownership coach, and your loan bestie with Home Loans Network, powered by Morty. You have tuned in to the Home Loans Network podcast, where I break down the mortgage world in plain language so you can understand it. Whereas you can move confident and smart when it comes to your money, purchasing real estate, and investing in your future. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, a move-up buyer, or an investor, this is the place where I will take all of the confusion out of any home loans, home ownership, and basically replace it with clarity as well as a strategy. So let's talk about today's episode. One of the most common questions that I hear often, whether it's my clients or students I have mentored in the past, is should I buy now or should I wait for the rates to drop? Well, the first thing is that's kind of like gambling. So, totally up to you what you plan on doing and what you want to do. But understand this, you are not alone. If you're wondering this, you've come to the right place. Rates have never been lowered in a long time. But at the same time, rates have been higher than what we've had in the last few years. Social media is out here loud. Everyone's got an opinion. And in the meanwhile, you're just trying to figure out what's actually best for you. So in today's episode, I'm going to talk honestly and strategically about this question. We're going to actually cover why focusing on only one interest rate can be misleading, what you should really be looking for before you decide, the pros and cons of buying now, the pros and cons of waiting, a simple way to think about timing the market versus timing your life, a practical tip when it comes to the best decision for your situation. By the end of this episode, my goal is for you to feel educated, empowered, and clear, not pressured. This isn't about pushing you to buy or telling you to sit out. It's about helping you understand what's really going to work for you and what you're doing and why. So let's dive in here. Now, when you ask, should I buy now or wait for the rates to drop? What you're really asking is, will I regret my buying decision if I buy right now? Because maybe the rates are going to drop later. Am I overpaying if I lock in a higher rate? Is it smart to keep renting and wait for the perfect time? Well, here's the truth. You don't just live in an interest rate world. You live in a monthly payment, a neighborhood, a school district, a home, and a life plan. That's where you live at. So instead of obsessing over high versus low rates, I want you to look at the full picture. What's your timeline? What is your budget? Is there going to be multiple household incomes? Is it just you? Your stability, your goals, your future. Rates actually do matter, absolutely. So don't think they don't. But they're only one piece of the puzzle. It's not the whole entire picture. So now let's talk about buying right now. Let's start with the case for buying now. If you find a home that you like, it needs to fit your budget, works for your lifestyle. It's in a location that you genuinely want, not because you can afford that location at that present moment. Keyword is, what do you genuinely want? And the payment has to feel comfortable. Because even if rates aren't perfect, then buying now can make a lot of sense. So it's just totally up to you. What are you looking for? What is the end game? Here's the benefits of buying now. You start building equity sooner. Every month, you're paying a mortgage instead of rent. More of that payment over time goes towards your asset, not your landlords. So you now become an asset and walking asset. And if you was an asset before, well, your asset has just now increased. Keep in mind, you could always refinance. So even if you got that rate for 9% and all of a sudden the rates start dropping and now you're in a better income situation, you refinance. Now 6%. And it's a possibility you can still pull cash out of your asset, your personal bank, and still have a lower monthly payment than you did when it was at 9%. So now you have a lower interest rate and you have money in your pocket to reinvest in something else. Number 2, you lock in your housing costs. Rent can go up every single year. A fixed rate mortgage gives you stability, especially in your principal interest. You're not at the mercy of your landlord's decision. So you make your own decisions on how you're going to spend your money every single month, when you're going to make that payment. If you was 5 days late, so what? You're not stressing, but at least you're not 30 days late. It's not affecting your credit report. But when you do make those payments, it is affecting your credit report in a positive light. So not only you're building your asset, but you're building your equity and you're building your credit. Number 3, you can possibly refinance later. One of the benefits of buying now is more than likely, as long as you're making those payments on time and you still keeping a debt to income ratio where it needs to be, you can more than likely potentially refinance later. You've heard the saying, marry the house, date the rate. That's what you want to do. You want to marry the house. This is the person you really want to be with, but you're going to date the rate. Okay? We don't live by cliches here, but here's the reality. If rate drops in the future and you qualify, you may have the option to refinance at a much lower rate, but you can't refinance a home you've never bought. So sometimes you have to take those chances. Sometimes you have to roll the dice. Sometimes you have to gamble. But if you know that you want to get married to that house in a house, date that rate. Just date the rate for the purpose of getting married, and you can always have an anniversary later, which is their refinance for their lower rate. Also, the benefits of buying now is you have less competition in certain markets. When rates are higher, some buyers step back. That means less competition, fewer bidding wars. You're not competing with somebody else for this particular house because if you have the bidding wars, what happened? Now, instead of paying $500,000 for the house, you're paying $550,000 for the house. So when you really think about it, you pay more for the house and you got this quote unquote so-called low rate that you wanted, right? You got this 6% rate. But you could have paid $500,000 for that house and just simply went with the 7.5% interest rate. And by the time you're done, it still would have equated to that $550,000. So again, marry the house, date the rate. Don't worry about the rate sometimes because again, sometimes the higher rate can put you at a better advantage when it comes to competition, less competition. You have more negotiating power when it comes to purchasing a property usually, as well as seller's credits. Because guess what? The seller's thinking, oh my God, I'm ready to sell this house right now. The rates are so high, nobody's going to buy. They're ready to get up out of it too. So now you have the opportunity to say, hey, if you want me to buy this house, I can, but now you have to contribute 3% towards the closing costs or, 3.5% towards the closing costs because the interest rates are so high. I love the house, but this is where I'm at. It makes it easier for you to negotiate because guess what? You won't have no competition. It's harder to negotiate your purchase price when there's a lot of competition because now there are people that's willing to overpay for this property that you was able to get $50,000 less and with sellers' contributions. Also, there's tax benefits in financial structures when it comes to buying now instead of just thinking about it. Depending on your situation, owning can actually come with potential tax advantages and a more structured, disciplined way to build wealth over time. So if you have a situation whereas you have a lot of money, let's say you had this 401k And when it comes to 401k, you have all of these different taxes you have to pay on all this money that's there, right? Well, when you buy the house with the 401k, that's the situation where you nicely, legally, professionally don't have to worry about those taxes. So what are we talking about here? So let's be real. Waiting is not always a bad move. There are valid reasons to sit tight though. So if you're using your time wisely, you might consider waiting. Maybe it's a situation where your credit needs work. If your credit score is currently costing you thousands of dollars in interest, taking 6 to 12 months to improve it is worth it, because that means you can get a better rate. You qualify for better loan programs, even sometimes home buyers grants, because of the bank that you went to and because of the credit. Lower monthly payments, one of the most important things is have the lower monthly payments. The other thing too is if your debts are so high, you definitely want to wait. If your debt to income ratio is stretched, that can limit what you can actually qualify for or push your payment too high. Using time to pay down debt can make a stronger buyer. You don't have enough savings could be another reason why you do need to wait for to purchase a house. Not because of the rate, because like I said, marry the house, date the rate until you figure it out, okay? If you don't have enough savings, how are you going to be able to purchase this house? If something happens and if you do purchase the house, how is that going to benefit you if you are not able to maintain certain repairs? Because even if you get a home warranty with a house, you still have to pay a deductible. So home ownership does come with a price. It does come with responsibility. No matter how you look at it, no matter who's in the house with you, it does come with responsibility. If your savings are low and you don't have an emergency fund, this is a sign for you to pause. Waiting sometimes, especially when the money is not right, it allows you to build a stronger emergency fund, save more for your down payment and closing costs. It will reduce the stress once you become that owner. Number 4, your job or income is unstable. This is another reason why you should potentially not buy a house right now, not because of the rate. So I want you to listen to me. The rate should not be the real reason. Your stability should be the reason. Getting what you want should be the reason. Getting not what you want should be the reason. Your job and your income is unstable. If you've just started a new business, changed careers, or your income is consistently fluctuating, it may make sense to build more of a stability before you jump into a mortgage. Because at least with your, let's say, landlord, you already know what you can afford. But at the same time, the landlord is responsible for all of the repairs. You've already paid your security deposit, so you're not jumping in there saying, oh, I got to put $10,000 down, $20,000, $15,000, $100,000, depending upon what you could afford at the time. But if you're unstable and you originally had $100,000 to put down and your job is unstable, who knows what can happen after that? You're in a $1 million house. You've just put that $150,000 down. You done went through your savings. Guess what? The company got bought out. They start downsizing, and what happens? You're in a situation where you can no longer not only afford that house, but now you messed up your credit. You can't refi. You have a big piece of an asset that probably have some possible equity into it, and there's nothing you can do with it. Number 5, you are not clear on your life plan. If you don't know if you're staying in the area for the next 3 to 5 years, it might be smarter for you to wait until you're more settled. Buying and selling too quickly can eat up your equity and your closing costs. So that's something that you need to think about. If you buying too soon and you're not buying a property that don't have a lot of equity into it anyway, or you didn't put a lot of money down on it for you to already have equity built into it, That could be a bad move, especially in a situation if interest rates are up and then the market is down as a whole, whereas the economy is falling, the values are falling. And no, and don't just rely on Zillow and Trulio and Redfin thinking that's going to give you a true estimated value, because that's not the case, okay? The dangers of trying to time rates here, and this is what I need you to know, here is what you need to listen to me on. Most people don't successfully time the stock market. And most people don't successfully time the interest rate market either. So don't let nobody make you think this is the time to buy. This is the time to buy. No, you're the time to buy. You know what's best for you. You might say you're waiting for the rates to drop, but what if they don't drop as fast as you think? What if home prices keep rising while you wait? What if the home you love is gone when you're finally ready? Sometimes waiting for the perfect rate can actually cost more in the long run. And here's why. Prices go up, rents go up. You miss out on equity that you could have been building. So I'm not telling you to rush, but what I am telling you is don't let "I'm waiting for rates" become a permanent excuse that keeps you stuck in neutral. So the better question to ask here, instead of only asking, should I buy now or wait for the rates to drop? Ask yourself, does buying now make sense for my life? Does buying now make sense for my budget? Does buying now make sense for my goals? Because even at today's rate, and even then, if I do wait, what's my plan during that time? What am I actively improving? My credit, my savings, my stability? Or am I just waiting and hoping and I'm still on neutral? So, practical tips that I want you to decide on. Here are some steps you can take right now to get clarity and to avoid confusion as to what you need to do for yourself. I need you to know the real numbers. Sit down with a loan officer, a mortgage loan originator, somebody like myself. Get a pre-approval. Get a true pre-approval. Not a pre-qualification, not just a guess, but an actual pre-approval. What payments are you approved for? What payments are you actually comfortable with? How does that compare to your current rent? You want to be able to run a scenario, rent versus own. Look at your current rent over the next 3 to 5 years, a projected mortgage payment over that same period, potential equity growth versus money lost to rent. Then you need to define your timeline. Are you likely to stay in your home for the next 3 to 5 years? If yes, buy may actually make a stronger decision for you, especially if you're in the market where rents are constantly rising. You need to get a personalized strategy, not just some generic advice. Your situation for you and me is unique. It's unique to our credit, your income, your goals, your market. That all matters. Talk to a professional who can walk you through your numbers instead of following the one-size-fits-all advice on social media or the one-size-fits-all advice at a conference. No, you need to have someone to sit with you, whether it's via video Zoom, whether it's in an office face-to-face. But your situation is not the same as everybody's situation. You must have a plan A and a plan B. Plan A is, if you buy now, how will you manage the payment and your other financial goals? Your plan B, if rates drop later and it makes sense, what would it look to refinance right now? How would you be able to refinance? Would you be able to refinance? So have your plan A, and then your plan A may have to turn into a plan B because maybe you do need to refinance because, the rates did drop. But understand when you refinance, that credit needs to be in order. So don't just try to buy now, right? And then think you're going to automatically refinance. No. That credit still needs to be in order. So don't forget that. So who should actually consider buying now? You may actually be a good candidate to buy now. You have stable income. You have some savings for down payment and emergency funds when it comes to that home. Your credit is in great shape. You found a home that fits your lifestyle. Not what nobody else told you, not what social media said, but what you feel is your lifestyle, what you're comfortable with. The payments work for your budget today, not just if the rate drops, I can purchase this. So I'll purchase this now, but to be honest with you, I really can't afford this, but I'm hoping a rate drop. No, if you can afford it at that moment, that's that home for you. Don't worry about what that rate is, because once it drops later, in the same when it comes to sales, you offer a person less so they can expect less, but then you give them more. That is the same thing when it comes to these interest rates. It doesn't matter if it's 8%. If you can afford that mortgage payment is the real question. And does that house make you happy, and that lifestyle that you envision and that house makes you happy? Then you go for that house, because guess what? In 6 months, them rates drop. You are ecstatic. You're extremely happy. Now you feel like you done won the lottery. Not to mention, you're building equity and you have a much lower payment. Now, the people that do want to wait, you may want to wait and work on a plan if your credit score needs serious rebuilding. Your debts are very high relative to your income. You're not sure if you'll even be in the area long. You feel financially stressed in today's market and payments, and you just don't feel like you'd have job stability with your company. Waiting is not a failure, as long as you're using the time to get stronger. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, Ebonie, I don't just want opinions. I want to see my numbers. I want my options so I can make a real decision. Then that is exactly what I am here for if you cannot reach a loan officer elsewhere. I am Ebonie Beaco with Home Loans Network, powered by Morty. You can reach me at 312-392-0664. I would love to talk to you about home ownership or real estate investing. You can also visit my website at www.homeloansnetwork.com. So whether you're wondering if I should buy now, build a plan to buy later, or explore refinancing or investing, I'm here to work with you, and I'll walk you through every step of the way and every number together so we can build a strategy that makes sense for you. Not just the market headlines and what's going on with the interest rates. Also, don't forget my Wind Down Wednesdays. You can hang out with me live every Wednesday. Tune in to YouTube every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for Wind Down Wednesdays with Home Loans Network. This will be your time to ask me any mortgage questions, real estate questions live. Get tips, strategies, and real life advice. Learn how to navigate interest rates, approvals, credit, fix your credit, refinancing, and investing. So just go to YouTube and search Home Loans Network together and hit subscribe so you'll never miss a live session. Again, I am Ebonie Beaco with Home Loans Network, reminding you, it's not just about high or low rates. It's about making smart, informed moves that serve your life and your future. I'll see you on Wednesday for Wind Down Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube. And I look forward to helping you decide if buying now or waiting is the right move for you. Remember, you're marrying the house, but you're dating the rate.